we're hoping that everybody can join us in June at the ASK Dome. But we're trying to put together a good conference that will educate, highlight, and show people the power and the value of what's behind Bitcoin and how it could personally level up people, corporates, and institutions in Kenya, which is, I think, something that we all want for our country. And we have a tool now that's available to us that gives us optionality on how to do that, rather than the traditional methods that we've been trying for a while. But we've got something now that we should learn about deeply and see how we can help us build a better Kenya.
Okay. Sounds intriguing. So we'll come back and talk to the connector, who can maybe hopefully show us what this ecosystem looks like when we come back. Next to me on my left is Kimberley.
Hello.
Hi, Kimberley.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Kimberley Sandra. I am a Bitcoin policy and governance researcher in Kenya, and I'm also the event coordinator at Bitcoin Nairobi conference. So as Robert has said, Bitcoin is the connector of a lot of things. When you look at finance, it's Bitcoin. When you come and look at social, it's Bitcoin. When you come to look at healthcare, it's Bitcoin. Bitcoin is at the center of the evolution that we are having as human beings right now in the capital market. So it's going to be a very interesting journey and an interesting ride because Nairobi is at the center of all this. Nairobi is actually leading in what actually adoption of Bitcoin looks like, and that's what we want to show the world come June.
All right. We'll come back and figure out what dates in June. I know you've said ASK Dome is a location, but the road to this Bitcoin, what shall we call it? Is it a conference? Bitcoin Nairobi conference, yeah?
Yes.
We'll come and talk more about that. If you're a Bitcoin enthusiast and you'd like to know more, you're just curious, or you're in any of the sectors that Kimberley has just mentioned, and you're curious about where the intersection lies, please do continue to follow this conversation at the Jam 984 on X. You can also catch us on YouTube. We're live on our Capital FM Kenya page. And, of course, you can WhatsApp and ask your questions and send your comments and your shout-outs on 0701 984 984. Yeah, I got that right. Felt like I was repeating it. Yunia Munga, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Are you also a Bitcoin enthusiast?
Well, I need to learn more about it.
So we are going for the conference in my wonderful month.
June,
baby.
I had a saying, here we come, June.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Sometimes God does the work for you, right? All right, let's go into the business news. We'll be right back.
Capital Business News.
In the headlines, APA profit jumps 43% on strong insurance growth, and Kenyan clean cooking firm seeks 5 billion shillings to scale operations. APA Apollo Group has reported a 43% rise in net profit to 2.8 billion shillings for the full year ending December 2025, driven by higher insurance revenue and operational efficiency. The group's insurance revenue grew by 14% to 24.6 billion shillings, supported by disciplined underwriting and improved performance across its business segments. APA's general insurance operations in Kenya and Uganda posted income of 20.2 billion shillings, with profit before tax rising 2.3% to 1.32 billion shillings. Meanwhile, its insurance unit, APA Life Assurance, recorded strong growth, with total assets jumping 69% to 20.7 billion shillings. Insurance revenue surged 50% to 4.4 billion shillings, translating to a 66% increase in profit before tax to 583 million shillings. 5 Kenyan clean cooking companies are seeking to raise 5.6 billion shillings from international investors to expand their product offerings and meet rising demand for eco-friendly solutions. The firms include Burn Manufacturing, which plans to raise 1.3 billion shillings, Ignis Innovation and Faith Engineering, targeting 1.95 billion shillings each, alongside Feyon seeking 260 million shillings and Ecobora aiming at 130 million shillings. The push comes amid growing adoption of clean cooking technologies in Kenya, driven by environmental concerns and the need to reduce reliance on traditional fuels such as charcoal and firewood. Increased awareness and policy support have also boosted demand for improved cook stoves and alternative energy solutions. For more of these and other stories, log on to www.capitalfm.co.ke. More business news at 5:15. I'm Yunia Amunga.
Capital Business News.
Mother's Day is almost here. Have you got her gift right? Join us here on Capital in the morning as we celebrate her with Woolworths. With exclusive W Rewards deals on women's fashion and so much more, there's great value for all. Don't miss out on the conversation right here on Capital Breakfast Show.
Capital FM.
Welcome back. 30 minutes past 4, 30 minutes to 5, half past 4, whichever English school you went to, that's what time it is right about now. On your best mix of music, 98.4, Capital FM. My name is Tata on the mic, or June Gashwi, as the government of Kenya knows me. And today we are having a really necessary conversation with Robert and Kimberley in studio, and they are here to preach the gospel of Bitcoin, and most importantly, to invite you to their Bitcoin Nairobi Conference 2026, which is happening in the month of June. So I'm going to come back to Robert and ask you to maybe just tell us a little bit why you feel East Africa is ready for a platform like this right now. What has changed since Bitcoin? When did Bitcoin even first start showing its head here?
In Kenya, I think it's been around quite a while.
Yeah, like more than 2 decades.
You always have the early adopters, right?
Yeah.
People who sort of get the technology and understand what's behind it. So we've always had people in Bitcoin from 2009 and onwards.
Okay.
Lucky guys, they were buying Bitcoin at a very
Very low rate, probably. Yeah.
But so it's been around for a while. But
Okay.
I think since COVID, 2020, 21 onwards,
Okay.
I think we've seen a real push. People coming to understand about inflation and how that occurs and how Bitcoin helps mitigate that effect. So you see a real push around this, and the ecosystem definitely growing. We have a lot of young developers across the country today who are building products and services to help people access and use Bitcoin on a day-to-day basis. So that ecosystem has really blown up and grown a lot. People are educating themselves around coding, cryptography, and things like this. And it's just made it easier for people to access it. So
Feel
Kenya's
like
moving along,
and the region is ready.
And the region is
Is
ready.
it open to people
open
in
to
the region, or is it just like a Nairobi thing?
It's open
Anybody.
This is a global, open, neutral protocol that anybody, anywhere can access 24 hours a day, 365. No holidays.
No holidays.
No holidays. It's always working
they've
for
had
you.
enough time to take a break. It's time. Kimberley, let me come to you. So you're organizing, trying to put all the pieces together. You're part of the organizing team. At the beginning, you described yourself as a policy
Yeah, Bitcoin policy and governance.
governor. So just tell me and my listener what that is.
Okay. So ideally, what policy is, it's basically, in layman's language, the rules that allow governments and citizens to work together. And for governance is basically how are we ensuring that our citizens are safe and are secure within our jurisdiction. So it's the government's mandate to provide a safe environment for the Kenyan citizen in all forms, whether you're doing radio, whether you're in whether you're in Bitcoin or whatever you're doing. So ideally, we have now Bitcoin as a part of this conversation, because right now we have the virtual asset regulation that has come up, and it came up since last year in November, and we have the task force from the National Treasury, CBK, CMA, we have the ODPC, and we also have the IRA, where they're coming together to try and make sure that this thing called Bitcoin and virtual assets is something safe for the Kenyan citizen, is something that Kenyans can be able to build in safe measures, and also to just ensure that the consumer protection is put number one, but then also the government having like its eye on whatever is happening, so that we don't end up talking about money laundering or terrorism funding and stuff like that. So my role in that is to ensure that in these policies that are being made by the government of Kenya, it is favoring the Bitcoin ecosystem in a way that as much as you want to regulate the protocol, you want to regulate what is happening, we ensure that we protect the ethos of Bitcoin, which is like, it's freedom money. You cannot control Bitcoin the way that regulators would want to do the control. If there are startups, as Robert has said, we have so many developers building on Bitcoin. Like I have co-founded a company called Bitika. We help people buy Bitcoin using M-Pesa for as low as 10 Kenyan shillings. We have Tando that enables you to spend your Bitcoin in areas where it is basically M-Pesa, M-Pesa receivable. So the thing about me coming in is as you're developing these policies, are you developing them to ensure that these small startups that are starting are able to continue working? Because when you look at the regulations, there's capital requirements, there is data protection requirements. So we need to ensure that as the regulators are building on this, they're building on it from a point of knowing how the protocol and the system works, and not from a point of not knowing. So that is the role that I play with, among others.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's interesting that, we always say like that in my field, which is law, we always say that the law plays catch up, right?
Yeah.
And policy is always the root that then gives birth to the law.
Yes.
And then the second thing we say is, especially in new areas of different disciplines or practice, you're not always sure that the people who are writing these policies have the knowledge.
The knowledge, yes.
Right? Because of how, let's say it's still quite nascent, it's still quite new. But are we seeing that the interest is growing and that we do have people in some of these offices that have the same level of interest the two of you have?
Yeah.
And the same level of knowledge, because I don't know that there's a degree for people to go and learn. Is there now?
There's a brand new master's in Bitcoin.
Wonderful.
That's being put out at the moment.
Okay,
So hopefully
okay.
we'll have those people come and present that what they're doing.
Yes,
Yeah?
the curriculum
The
that they're trying to put together.
Yes.
But there's loads of free educational material across the internet
Yes.
that people can access and learn also for themselves if it's something of interest.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So what can we expect, and who do we expect to see as part of this conference? Are we talking just to these young developers, people in the media, people in healthcare? You've mentioned some interesting intersections. So what's the guest list looking like right now, so that we know whether we should
yes.
come or not?
I've been to quite a few Bitcoin conferences around Europe and Cape Town as well. And what tends to happen is we have Bitcoiners talking to Bitcoiners. We wanted to make a real effort in Nairobi to really bring the non-Bitcoin crowd together with the Bitcoiners and have a forum where people can educate what it is that they're doing to an audience that has not heard about Bitcoin treasuries, Bitcoin infrastructure, Bitcoin payments. Then after that, it's a case of, okay, I get this now, I understand what's happening here. Now, how do I integrate that into my corporate situation here in Nairobi?
Okay.
That's the discussion that we want to have post-conference.
Okay.
Yeah. For the individual, I think a lot of people also learn a lot of things. And if you go visit AfriBit in Kibera, you'll understand how that community and others, there'll be people from Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, who will also be presenting their local economy projects. You get to see how, as an individual, what does this actually mean to me?
Yeah.
Why is this something I should be holding? And that's what we're hoping to put across at the conference.
Okay. Kimberly, you represent, if you allow me to say, a younger demographic.
Yeah.
Is that an accurate statement?
Excuse
Very
me?
accurate.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Very accurate.
Yeah. I'll come back to you, young at Harta. So what is the message? Because I think if most of the people who are developing and are curious, what is the message that I think your demographic would want to tell, say me, for example?
So ideally, my demographic is young people who are promised a lot. I read during Kibaki's time, where it was free education, and then Matiangi came in, all of us transitioned into high school, and then you're told when you finish high school, you get your A, go to university, you study, and then it stops there. There's no transition to the workforce. We have a lot of young people who are still stranded, and we are a demographic of the gig economy, whereby we're freelancers. So we talk to people abroad. We're like, we can do this design for you. We can work for you here. We can work for you there. And still, as we are trying to get jobs outside of the country that has not enabled us to get jobs inside it, it was hard for us to get paid. Because PayPal was doing its thing every single time. Or if you're using your bank, opening a dollar account costs an arm and a leg, and you cannot simply afford that. If I am a young person, I live in Juja, trying to actually just ensure that I am in uni, but I can pay my rent, or I finished uni, and I just really need to survive in this Nairobi and the economy.
Yeah.
So how can I be able to get paid across borders? That is how Bitcoin has come in and helped our demographic. People are getting paid across borders using Bitcoin, and those settlements are happening in a matter of minutes. it doesn't even take PayPal. It used to take even 24 hours, or sometimes your account is locked, and then you have to now start writing emails. You have to start, or someone like lies, and then they send in money that was stolen. So now PayPal locks your account. You're there, you've worked, you're doing all this, but still there's no level of you getting the money that you need, because ideally we work to get money. I believe in capitalism, it's there, so we work to get money. We don't want to work for experience.
Or exposure.
Or exposure, or free tea.
Yeah.
We just want to be able to get the money. So as a demographic, that's one way Bitcoin has really come in and showed up for young people in my demographic. Again, the building. Bitcoin is an open source, whereby I can come and build a payment processing system on Bitcoin, and people can adopt to it, and that's how I'm able to earn. And that's how my computer science degree, my software engineering degree doesn't go under the mattress. I can be able to continue building around it. We have young people who are actually teaching about Bitcoin. You're educating your community about Bitcoin, and it enables that circular system, as Robert has said, the circular economy in Kibera, and helping young people to also understand that, you know what, you can also be part of the system. You can be part of earning. You don't have to have a lot of hurdles along the way. And then comes you're being paid in Bitcoin. How can you spend in Bitcoin? Another young person comes and builds it for you. You're getting paid in Bitcoin. This is how you spend Bitcoin. So for my demographic, Bitcoin is the alternative economy that we never saw coming, but it came and it has freed a lot of us from a lot of things. Because depression really hits when you finish uni, you have nothing to do. You get something to do, you don't get paid. It really hits you then.
It exacerbates it, yeah. So this is, I feel like the soundtrack of Shackles Off My Feet starts playing right now in the background, right? We'll be back with the conversation with Robert and Kimberley. We're talking about a great event, a conference coming up in June on the 24th to the 26th. Is that correct? Yeah. And it'll be happening at the ASK Dome, with the 26th being including Kibera Bitcoin Circular Economy visit. It'll be at the ASK Dome, Jamhuri Park, and it's called the Bitcoin Nairobi Conference 2026. If you are interested, have questions, have comments, please do engage with us at the Jam 984 on X and on our WhatsApp line 0701 984 984. Time now for the sports. I hope there's Bitcoin in sports also. They really should be. Yeah. You know, yesterday was World Intellectual Property Day, and the theme is IP and sports. So, and how, what's their sub-theme? Ready, set, innovate. So, let's see what happens. If it doesn't come up, just we'll stop reading. Okay, at 5:50.
Capital Sports Update, where sports is taken seriously.
Good afternoon. Mohit Medirata emerged victorious in the opening leg of the PGK Equator Tour second edition, played at Vetlab Sports Club. Mohit delivered a standout performance, sailed by a sensational hole-in-one, carding 284 under par to storm to the top of a tightly contested corporate leaderboard. Finishing in joint second place were Mutahi Kibugu and Samuel Chege, each posting a total of 287 points. Manchester United striker Benjamin Sesko has backed Bruno Fernandes to win the Premier League Player of the Year award, while also lauding his captain's influence. Fernandes is among the favourites to pick up the award after an outstanding campaign for United. The 31-year-old has 18 assists in the Premier League this season, just 2 behind the record for a single campaign in the top flight since 1992. Anthony Joshua will return to boxing in a comeback bout on the 25th of July in Saudi Arabia. The former United World Champion will fight Christian Prenga in Riyadh this summer. It will be Joshua's first contest since returning to training after a tragic car accident that saw 2 of his close friends lose their lives in December. And finally, Manchester United duo Lenny Yoro and Patrick Dorgu have hinted that they will return to the squad for the Monday night football game against Brentford. Yoro missed United's win at Chelsea after suffering an injury in training, while Dorgu has been out since sustaining a hamstring injury at Arsenal in January. Asked about both Yoro and Dorgu in his pre-match press conference, United boss Michael Carrick played down their chances of involvement. And that's your Capital FM Sports Update. For more on these and other stories, log on to www.capitalfm.co.ke. More sports at 6:30. I'm Unia Amunga.
Capital Sports Update. Up to the minute sports, where sports is taken seriously.
Yeah. We got everything that we need right here.
The button pushing stops here.
Woo! Come on. Tell me on the things that I want to hear.
The Jam with June and Martin on 98.4 Capital FM.
DJ Pikachu on the mix. That's right, one of our very own mix master DJs right here on 98.4 Capital FM. You can catch her on Wednesday if you want to hear more of her skills at Club 213. For those of you who are planning to take Thursday off, because Fridays are public holiday, don't say Auntie June told you that, please. I'm just stating facts. I already know you're going to do it, so let me just tell you where you can find DJ Pikachu. Welcome back to the Jam, 98.4 Capital FM. My name is June Gashui, and we're having a conversation about the future, guys. Even though it's been around for quite a while, not in this way, not accessible in the way that it currently is. And I've got experts in the studio, I'm going to call them that, because they know more than me. That's the only reason you get that definition. And between Kimberley and Robert, who are both here to talk to us about Bitcoin Nairobi Conference 2026, happening on the 24th through to the 26th of June 2026, right here in Nairobi at the ASK Dome. We were just having a really great conversation around this path that lent itself to a particular demographic, the frustration behind being able to access work, but then not being able to get paid for that work because payment platforms or payment pathways were not available. And I think it just off air, we were talking about this gig economy that is basically the space that we're operating in. But also Robert mentioned the circular economy, and I think you used Kibera as one of the examples. So AfriBit, tell us maybe a little bit about AfriBit as you help us understand this ecosystem.
Sure. AfriBit Kibera, founded by two really wonderful people, Ronim Dawida and his wife Sarah. They've been in the community their entire lives, and they started community building a long time before Bitcoin. So in terms of understanding what happens in Kibera, the people in Kibera, the difficulties and challenges that women, children, and young men with no jobs, understanding the challenges and problems in Kibera, they're deeply embedded inside of that.
Okay.
Bitcoin came along, they learned about it and thought, oh, maybe this is something we could use to help, you know, in terms of some of the actions that we take inside the community. So 3-4 years ago, if not a little bit more, they started educating people about what Bitcoin is, what money is, and how Bitcoin helps a community such as that. What you have now, after that period of time, is you have merchants, border riders, women starting up their own little businesses, using Bitcoin on a daily basis and paying each other in a circular manner. So you go to the kiosk, you buy your supplies for home, the kiosk lady goes and pays her school fees with Bitcoin, the school buys supplies by going back to the... So it's a circular economy, and it's circulating within the economy. Now, it wasn't easy, but it's taken 3 years or so for people to really look at what they hold as their wealth.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, so this is what it's about. There's many strings you can pull on Bitcoin, from financial, economic, historical, philosophical, political, et cetera, I'll focus on one. Money is supposed to preserve your purchasing power, But as we all know, 1,000 shillings today will buy you a certain amount of groceries, but you know next year, that same amount of groceries, you're probably going to spend 1,100.
Yeah.
If you're holding Bitcoin, next year, you might spend 900 shillings, not 1,100. Your purchasing power is being compounded. So it's an optionality for you to save in. There's lots of instruments out there for people to save in. You can buy shares, you can buy bonds, you can buy whatever it might be. This is something that's new, that's come out. It's a savings technology, and you can use it to help preserve and mitigate against devaluation of the currency. That's what these people in Kibera have discovered over 3 years. All of a sudden, they're spending less money to buy the same things that they always have.
And they're the only ones, because the rest of us, it's like...
Well, there's many people.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, in this example, like, I can think
so
of...
So it was driven by a need from the community. That's why the adoption has taken off the way that it has, and why people are using it. And those sort of communities across Africa, you'll find where people have understood this fact, and that's why they use Bitcoin on a daily basis, because I'm not stressed anymore. I need to get more money tomorrow because I know things are going to be more expensive tomorrow. I've got Bitcoin.
I wish everybody could say that.
Yeah.
And one way they can say that is thanks to all the partners who've come together to make this conference happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to just say a shout out to them and then do one final invite to everybody who's listening to join all of us on the 24th.
On the 24th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like to give a major shout out to the guys who have hosted us here today, Capital FM. Whoop, whoop.
Hey.
Thank you so much. I feel like media is one of the greatest places to have this amplified on radio, because radio has historically been the best. I mean, there's someone who won governor by campaigning on radio. So.
Very true.
So we're here now, and we want to thank Capital FM for this great partnerships. We have Gorilla Sats, they're a circular economy, and we also have Treasure Academy. Thank you so much, Treasure Academy. We have TALO Africa. Thank you so much, TALO Africa. Our venue partners, ASK. I think ASK has hosted a lot of of our conferences.
Yeah, that's
we really
good.
love the great partnership that ASK has given us. I don't think I have left
No, I think you've
anyone
captured
out.
everybody.
I've captured everyone, and this conference is for everyone. It's for policymakers, it's for young people, it's for business people, for the women, for the children. We have Beat Hadithi, where they are producing storybooks for children.
Wonderful.
To be able to learn how to save in Bitcoin. So it is for everybody. Don't feel left out. A problem that I had getting into Bitcoin was it was very tech savvy. And me, who reads a lot of policy papers, who fuatas when parliament is in session, I didn't think I'd have a space. But here I am advocating for Bitcoin policy. So it's open. It's an open source. It's for everyone, even musicians, events. Come, let's learn about Bitcoin.
I'm coming,
Please,
Kimberly. Wow.
let's come.
Wow,
Let's
that was
come to
subtle.
Bitcoin. Yes,
The
for
musicians are coming.
Please.
Thank you both
come
so
for
much,
Bitcoin.
Kimberly and Robert, for spending just about an hour with us talking through this, and we will definitely continue to amplify the message. Time now for the news with Bitcoin. No? Yes? At 5 o'clock. Yuni Amunga is here. This is The Jam.